to Mary Bob. I just wanted to give her a tremendous thank you. For the last several years, she's been on the 5 years, Life Engagement Committee and Planning Friday Morning Coffee, and she's decided to retire from that post and hand it on to the Life Engagement Committee. As you know, we're moving to a once-a-month format, but we brought biscuits back. So spread the news, come have some breakfast and listen to some great presentations. And again, a round of applause and a thank you for Mary Bob's service. She's done a tremendous job. All right, I'm going to hand the mic over so she can introduce our wonderful speaker today.
Thank you, Vicki. It's really been fun, but 5 years becomes not so much fun. But I have learned so much from the speakers we've had, so I hope you've enjoyed them. I want to introduce to you Lori Hemrick. She is the coordinator of Live Therapeutic Music Program at Northeast Georgia Health System. She is a pianist and a vocalist, and even during COVID-19, she showed up daily to provide music for healthcare workers. She was passionate about music and medicine because music is medicine. Please also welcome one of the performers in her program, and that is Ellen Foster, our harpist. Lori, you have
Village residents for having us this morning to speak on something that is very dear to our hearts. Yes, I believe that music is medicine. There's not been a single successful civilization in the history of the world that did not have the arts in some form. And music, I believe, was probably the very first art form, because in the very beginning was the Word, right? And I find that that is not, I think that in the Bible, that is not just something that's thrown out there. I think that in the beginning there was the sound, the Word, and I think that is why music is one of the reasons that it is so intrinsically important to us as a culture. The wrong direction, there we go. So Mary Bob introduced me and said that I'm the coordinator of the Live Therapeutic Music Program. That is true. When I started back in 2019 with Northeast Georgia Health System, that was my title, was a musician for the Live Therapeutic Music Program. We have grown now to include other arts, which we'll talk about a little bit. So now we have grown to a title of Arts in Medicine program at Northeast Georgia. Where we were originally given a 3-year grant by the foundation, the Northeast Georgia Foundation. Back in 2017, it was awarded to us, and the program began in 2018. We had a 3-year grant and it was considered a pilot program. But then what happened in the meantime was Chris Bray became the chief philanthropy executive of the foundation. And Chris brought in a new model of funding, and under that, we have evolved, and we are perennially funded each year. So that's a wonderful thing. We were talking earlier about grants and how arts depend on grants, and this model under the foundation gives us more continuity. In 2020, of course, was the pandemic, and all of our musicians went from they either went home, and like most of us did, but there were 2 of us who stayed in the hospital, and we focused, instead of the patient at the bedside, we focused supporting the staff during those important years. It was really crucially important for us because suddenly the staff, it was like a light bulb went off for them when they were the focus of the sound that we were providing and the support we were providing, and they thought, oh, I feel so much better. And then they said, and I'm not the one in the bed, you know. So it was a very important time and period for us. In 2021, the original coordinator, Chuck Beckman, stepped down due to health issues, and I stepped in to fill his very large shoes. And I should back up and say that without the work of Dr. Barbara Steinhaus at Brunel and one of our founding musicians, Robin Prechter, we probably wouldn't have this program. Barbara had come in and she had gotten a certificate in arts and health from the University of Florida. And at the same time, Robin Prechter was getting her certification in therapeutic music from an accredited body. And they both came to the hospital at about the same time, and they both were clamoring. Northeast Georgia is a great place, and Northeast Georgia Health System is a great hospital. It should have paid musicians. It should have a paid arts and medicine program. And it just so happened we did get leadership in around that time, and everything just sort of converged from all of these different angles. In 2022, when we were becoming out of the pandemic, we were able to improve our consult orders, and consult orders are the orders in our electronic health records in the hospital that we get orders. This patient needs music. And that's how we know where to go. The only people who can provide those orders are nurses, nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, and physicians. So it's a very clinical decision that's made for the patients. In 2023, we did an analysis because we were getting musicians back, but we needed more musicians. And the people who were coming to audition for us, they had been trained under new modeling, because during the pandemic, like a lot of things, everything went online, right? You know, everything was, oh, we can do this virtually, and it can cost us a lot less money. And so these training programs that Ellen and I have been through, they all went to the online model. Well, it's very difficult to try to train someone about how to utilize sound in a live situation if you are not in the room and live yourself, right? I mean, that just seems like a no-brainer to me, but you know. But no one was listening when we said, the folks you're sending us, they're not prepared for this work. Something's missing. Let's go, why don't you go back to doing in-person training and certification? And they said, oh no, it's way too expensive. This is much better for us. And I said, well, it's not better for us in Northeast Georgia. We want really well-trained and qualified musicians for this. So we did an analysis, and we decided that we were going to do our own in-house training and certification program. And when we looked at the cost of that, of doing it all on our own, starting from scratch, we said, no, that's cost prohibitive. So what else is out there? So we decided to partner with one of the existing certification and training programs, and that is called Harp for Healing. And so in 2024, we began our very first cohort of 4 students, and now we are currently in our 4th cohort, which also has 4 students. So all told, we've had about 13 musicians who've gone through our training and certification program, and we've been able to then offer employment for some of the best from that program. It's been a great program for us. We offer music in all 5 locations. I don't know if you know, we have the Gainesville Hospital, Brazelton, Barrow, Lumpkin, and Habersham. Those are spread out. But we have been able to send our musicians so that all of the locations get some coverage at least once a week. In Gainesville, we have someone who's there obviously every day, because that's our largest. In 2025 also, almost from the day that I arrived actually in 2019, I said, well, it's great for those who respond to the music, but there's some people who respond more visually. What about therapeutic art? Oh no, we can't do that. Let's just focus on this. I was like, okay, let's focus on this. But I kept saying, what about those other folks? Because art is incredibly important too. Have you ever watched an artist when they create something? And what happens to you when you watch, right? Does anybody remember Bob Ross? Right? I mean, I still watch him. I watched him like 2 weeks ago, and 30, 40 minutes went by, and I went, oh my gosh, I'm so relaxed. Just, let's paint a little tree right here. And just the whole process of watching someone else create something and using that creative side, it takes us out of our mind, right? And it helps to reset our central nervous system, which is the key to everything that we do in our jobs. And so we added last year a therapeutic artist. One of our musicians is also a creative artist. And some of you who may have been at the groundbreaking for the hospice house across the street, we had that artist here, and he was doing sketches, and we now have 3 pieces that will be located in the new hospice facility when it opens. And then also we started thinking, well, what about other people? Some people respond, some people maybe are in the hospital and they're thinking, what has my legacy been? What has my life meant, right? I mean, we have lots of time when we're in the hospital to think about these deep questions. And so we thought, well, what about those folks? Wouldn't it be nice if they had if they had the ability to say, this was my life on just maybe 1 page. This is what was important to me, and this is what I did, and this is what I am leaving for my children, my friends, my family. And so we are in the process of getting a job requisition for a legacy author. We have the funding for it. We're just in the process of getting all of the pieces together, because one part of being a fully integrated health system, which Northeast Georgia is, it's a big bureaucracy, right? It takes time to get these things done. But also, we knew that this was going to happen. We stayed under budget for all of those years. We were just very, very resourcefully responsible with our funding. But we knew that with all of the things that we were going through and all the things that we were adding, we knew that there was going to be a tipping point, and that we would go over budget. And just almost right on schedule. Last year we were 20% over budget. And that's when I started last year, and I went to the foundation. I said, this is what we're doing. And I've learned from being here, I would say, well, should we do this? They'd say, oh, go do it. Oh, well, should we do this? Oh, go do it. But if I ever got outside of, what was allowable, they'd say, stop. And I go, oh, okay, there's the boundary. And so a year ago, I started saying, we've got all these things going. We want to be sure that this is what the board of the hospital and what the hospital leadership and what the patients and community want. But if it is, then this is the funding that we're going to need. So we started a year ago, and we are now currently in talks with them to increase our budget to support all these wonderful things for our patients and our community. So where we're going, we are now under the umbrella of arts and medicine. We have currently 9 part-time musicians, 1 full-time coordinator, which that's me. We have the on-site live therapeutic music training program for the musicians. We're adding the visual therapeutic artist. and we're adding the legacy author. We are also, in the future, we're going to have to train those folks. Just as we have for the musicians, we anticipate we're going to have a training program for the artists. We're going to have a training program for the authors, because you have to be sure that the people who are coming in to these hospital rooms with their patients, who are the most vulnerable state that we can be in, and we have to be sure that they are properly trained and vetted for the work. Also in the future, we're looking at adding an NGHS chorus and an orchestra. I don't know if anybody has heard of the Houston Performing Arts at Houston. They have probably one of the most well-funded arts and medicine programs in the country. And they have exactly what we're trying to piece together here and build here. So we're using them as a model. There are other hospital systems who say they have these programs, and you look at them online and you go, wow, Johns Hopkins looks like it's really got this great program. But then we have someone come from Johns Hopkins who's been a musician here, and he goes, it's nothing like we've got going here at Northeast Georgia. Does that feel good? Sure. Yeah, it does. It does. One of the things, and tell me if I'm wrong, one of the things I heard when I first came here was the leadership in Northeast Georgia, in Gainesville, they had this vision for Gainesville. They want to be the Asheville of the North Georgia mountains. And at first I thought, well, that's kind of quirky. That's a big ask. But you know what? The more time that I stay here and I spend here and I live here now, it's absolutely doable. It's absolutely doable. And we're hoping that this dovetails nicely with that vision. We are intending to do performances in the Walters Auditorium there on site. That's where we will have the chorus and the orchestra, and we hope to do other types of art venues. I am in the process of being, my title is changing from coordinator to manager of the program. And as part of that, I can't do everything. Ellen has been a fabulous find for us. Ellen comes to us, excuse me, from Eastman School of Music, where she got her master's degree there. Ellen has served as harpist, one of the principal harpists for the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, for Opera Atlanta, and I could go on and on, I'm sure. She's also, excuse me, she is also a teacher, fabulous teacher, and a fabulous performer. And so because she's got all of this wonderful experience, she is going to, we have proposed that she be named an education coordinator. So she will be responsible for the education part of what we do. So let's talk first about live therapeutic music. So live therapeutic music is not music therapy, okay? It's not entertainment. It is the intentional use of a music-based experience to positively impact a person's physical, emotional, or mental health, okay? So you can imagine that when, your friends, your patients, your loved ones, or you yourselves are in the hospital, right? And what's one thing they really want to control, right? Your vital signs. They're taking your blood pressure. They're taking your temperature. They're looking at your respiration rate. They're looking at your oxygen saturation, all of those things. And the music, if it's applied properly, can help to stabilize those things. There's something called entrainment. Entrainment is, if you've ever been to church or you've ever been to a concert where you are surrounded by a mass of people, but everybody seems to be in sync, right? It's like you're caught up in the music, you're caught up in the moment, and you know that you're feeling what the person next to you is feeling. You know that and the person on the other side, everybody is unified by this experience, by this sound and the visual that they are receiving. That is called entrainment, okay? Another word for it is synchronization, where our bodies are wired to be in community with each other, not just single units, but to reach out as a community, right? And that is one of the things that music is able to do. And our goal in life therapeutic music is to reset that person's central nervous system from fight, flight, or freeze. You know, has any of us ever been in a panic situation, right? We all have, exactly. We all have. And there's that moment where, everything just feels out of control. And our goal with the music and the art and the authors is to help reset that response to our body, which makes us want to run, or makes us want to freeze, or makes us want to fight, and helps to reset that and get us in a calmer state. Because the calmer we are, the more accepting we are of the medical intervention that's being done on our behalf. If we are in fight mode, we are fighting not only what's going on around us, we're fighting within our own body. And we're rejecting help, right? Because we feel like we have to do it ourselves. But when we are calm, it's like, okay, I need this help. I need to be here. And the body is much more accepting of medical intervention when you're in that state. We're not entertainment. Entertainment requires an audience. Today, you are our audience, right? If you weren't listening to me, you wouldn't write that. I'm expecting that you're hearing what I'm saying, and I'm trying to communicate to you, and you're being receptive. That is an audience. You have to be there. You have to be ready to listen, okay? Patients in the bed are not usually, a lot of times we'll get this, and Ellen can back me up on this, I can say to a nurse, I see that patient's having a hard time. Maybe she could benefit from music. The nurse will go to the patient. Mrs. So-and-so, would you like some music today? And what's the first thing she says? No. She's only been asked that one time today, something that she can say no to, and she is going to say no, right? And part of that response is, yes, she wants some agency, but also she thinks that she has to be a good audience because that's what entertainment requires, right? We have to feel like our hair is done, our makeup's on, we have to, you can see people, they're like, I have to get adjusted. It's like, no, don't, that's okay. You don't have to be a good audience. In fact, if you want to pay me a compliment, you can just fall asleep. And then they say, then Mrs. So-and-so will say, oh, and she relaxes. Then she understands, I don't have to be a good audience. I can just be here and experience this. So that is the biggest hurdle we come across. So we're not entertainment. We're also not music therapy. Music therapy is requiring a reaction, an interaction. Someone who's had a stroke and is having a difficult time moving the right side of their body, a music therapist might bring in a guitar and try to get them to hold the pick, or use their fingers to strum to try to motivate them and help to rebuild those neural networks, right? So that is music therapy. Music therapy requires them to be interactive, but when their patient's in the bed, they're not ready to be interactive. We can't ask them to, oh, do you know this song? Let's sing this song. Now, some of them, that is what they need, and that's what we give them. But for the most part, it's not, let's sing this song. It's not, oh, I bet you remember this song from 1960, you know. I bet you remember the Weavers. You know, it's not like that at all. What live therapeutic music is, it is complementary, meaning it doesn't cost the patients anything. It's funded, as I said, by the foundation. Our goal is to meet the patient in that bed, right where they are, emotionally, physically, mentally. We never know. I tell the staff all the time, they'll say, oh, wow, it was crazy on the orange unit today. And I'll say, yep. You know, that unit is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, right? But the goal is to meet them where they are, not to have set expectations. But we do have a goal in the sense that we would just really like for them to relax, to be open to the medical intervention on their behalf, and stabilize those vital signs by influencing that central nervous system. So what we've done today, Ellen is here to help do a patient simulation for us. I'm going to be the patient, and Ellen is going to be the live therapeutic musician coming into the room. And I used this patient condition of someone who's having a urinary tract infection.
Piece first. Do you want me to play first?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Ellen is first going to give us a demonstration of entertainment.
Good morning, my name is Ellen, and I'm here to play this beautiful piece called You Raise Me Up. It is well known because of the wonderful Josh Groban, who I actually got to perform with a couple of times. So it's a very, very special piece. This is called You Raise Me Up. I hope you enjoy it. That is a performance.
Yes, yes. So now on to our patient simulation. I'm going to be Miss D. And Miss D has been in the hospital for a couple of days with a urinary tract infection, and that has caused her to be terribly confused.
Hi, Miss D. My name is Ellen.
Oh.
Live therapeutic music.
Oh.
I'm employed by the hospital, and I'm here on the request of your nurse, who would like me to help you relax a little bit today.
Wait, what?
It'll only be about 5 minutes or so. We'll just see if we can help you get a little more relaxed.
That's very nice, but I've really got to get home now. There's just, I don't know what is keeping, I don't know what's keeping Sam, but I have really got to get out of here.
Well,
I mean,
while we're waiting for Sam, I'm going to play for you for a little bit.
Oh, so, I'm sorry, this is just, oh goodness. I'm not ready for this. I've got to get home. I've got to get home. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear me? That's not so terrible. That's kind of nice. But wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's kind of, that's nice. I don't know where, I don't know where Sam is, but did you turn off the stove, honey? I've got to go to the, I don't remember where I've got to go. This is nice. So, thank you, Ellen, of course. So that,
it's our superpowers to help people fall asleep. It's amazing.
it is.
It really works. It's incredible.
I will just share a really quick story. We had a patient who was similarly in a similar condition, and she was in a loop, a mental loop, and all she could say is, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And it went on and on, and the nurses said, can you please come help? And one of our other harpists, Robin Prechter, went, and she said, I tried everything, nothing was working, and she ended up just choosing one note. Just found one note that made the patient stop out of that loop for just a second. And she kept going, I don't know what to do. And Robin would play the note, I don't know what to do. And eventually she stopped. It got her out of the loop, right? And she was able then to have a more normal conversation because she was more relaxed. So Thank you very much, Ellen. Of course, she's fabulous. Ellen is my heart teacher, by the way. She's a fabulous teacher. She's also taught Robin, and we're very, very happy to have her on our team. She comes from Roswell every day to work for us. Our therapeutic artist, I think I mentioned earlier, his name is Max Eve. Max uses markers and pencils currently to craft in-the-moment art to capture the scenes or the emotion that he's witnessing from the patients, and he creates a piece that creates a healing environment for them. This is some of his art here. These are three different scenes that he creates, and they're just beautiful. And wherever he is, everyone gravitates toward it. They want to know, what is he doing? The staff, they'll be rushing, and then they're like, oh, for like just a little brief second, as they walk by. It's just a wonderful thing to be able to offer the staff, and we're going to be offering it to the patients fairly soon. We have to get through the process of setting up the IT architecture to be able to have consults for the therapeutic art the way that we do for music. Then we're going to be adding a legacy author. We have the funding, but we are seeking the author. So this is very wordy, but basically, they will use written word as a therapeutic tool to assist the patients in communicating their emotions, their experiences, their challenges. And then the author will craft a one-page something, either be a piece of poetry, or it will be a very one-page or two-page short story about this person's legacy and their life and what it means. And then that patient can take it home with them, or the family can take it home with them. And we talked about the plans for the orchestra and a chorus. These are really lofty goals, but we know that it will happen. It's everyone's very excited about what's coming ahead. This is really tiny. I know you can't see that. In 2026, we plan the addition of me as manager and Ellen as the education coordinator. We're anticipating hiring 5 more therapeutic musicians to cover all the locations more thoroughly. We're seeking additional hours for our therapeutic artist, Max, and also hiring the legacy author. And then in 2027, we will be working on coming up with the certification and the training programs for the artist and for the legacy author. And then in 2028, we hope to have an additional legacy author, and then start the chorus, and in 2029, we will start the orchestra. That's the 5-year plan. So that is our presentation. Does anyone have questions?
Wait for the mic, everybody.
Wait for the mic.
Thank you. Do I have a question? It's ready to go? Okay. My name is Jerry, and I want to thank you for being here. I love this hospital. And I'm a singer at this hospital. Songs like Puff the Magic Dragon. Oh. I cuddle babies in the NICU. And it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best job in the state of Georgia. Anyway, yes. I have a comment. About 10 years ago, we were picking up information about something that's going on at Harvard University with Parkinson patients. And it's a Tango for Parkinson. And the coordinator here, the activities coordinator, gave it a try. And it's a simple move that you do to beautiful music. And when I did this, I did it with some fellows, my arms are around them, I could just feel them relax. And I'm wondering why we don't do things like that. It's simple. You know, once a week, we just need some really good music. Mm-hmm. And I'm just throwing that out for management, okay? But again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I just wondered, what other instruments do you have?
That's an excellent question. We have a violinist, we have 3 pianists, we have guitar. We have 2 guitarists, 1 classical guitarist and 1 sort of pop guitar. And we have a flautist, right? We have a flautist in the NICU. You may have come across Teresa. She is solely focused on the NICU, which is totally different from everything.
Can a patient request music?
Yes, you absolutely, the patients absolutely can. The problem is, of course, a lot of them don't know about it. So, you know, you can imagine in the hospital, you know, you've got so much coming at you, you know, and there's only so much that you can absorb. So that is part of you know what our job is here today, is to inform people that yes, this is available. Now you can't order it yourself, but you can tell your nurse, I really want the music. I want the musicians to come today. Or I heard there's a therapeutic artist. I want that artist in here today. Or if it's your loved one, usually the loved ones are the ones who will say, I heard a harpist down the hall, or I heard them as I was coming in. Could they come up and play? And as a matter of fact, I'm standing here today because my mother in 2013 had an aortic valve replacement at Emory. And when she was coming out of the anesthesia, she heard harp music. The harpist was out in the hall. And my mother and I had this great way of communicating with each other without words. And her eyes, and I said, no, Mom, you're not in heaven. It's okay. Because I hear it too. And so I went out in the hall and I said to the harpist, this is lovely. I think it would be really special if you could come in and do this for my mom at her bedside. And she said, that's what we're trained to do. And I went, oh, little light bulb. And so I tell people that the last gift that my mother gave me was she showed me the path where my love for arts and music and my love for health and medicine, where that intersection was. But yes, if you're there or you're there for a loved one, ask for the music, then ask your nurse. Yes?
What's involved in training a musician?
Right. The musicians have got to be proficient in their instrument. That's the first thing. So they have to be able to play a lot of different types of music. It helps if they read music, because sometimes we get requests for things we've never heard or seen. They also have to be able to improvise in the moment. So, you know, you probably noticed as Ellen was playing for Miss D, right, that she didn't necessarily keep a strict beat, right? That's because she was watching to see what Miss D's reaction was to the music so that she could change it as she needed to. Now, you know, if Miss D had gotten really anxious and had started thrashing, you know, and that type of thing, she would have totally changed what she was doing. And so you have to be able to do that. The training hours in class is about an 80-hour investment. The students come to us 1 day a week and takes about 7 months, I would say, to get through the classwork. At the end of the classwork, then there's a 45-hour at the bedside practicum, and that is their time at the bedside to make sure we know that they're ready, and that's part of the training. Once they finish the practicum, then they have their certification. Right now, we are really blessed. We have not charged these musicians anything. If they are good enough and they have the right heart and they can get here and they're committed, we've been able to offer the training for free for them. When I say for free, though, when they come each week, they have 3 hours of class time, and then they have 1 hour where they are providing what we call ambient music, so more just background music in the public spaces. So if you come to the hospital and you see a harpist or a violinist or the guitarist, the musician, they're there in the entryway. That's what they are doing. Yes, sir.
I had a friend here who was dying, and I went to sit with him, and he was barely conscious, almost comatose. I took out my harmonica and started playing, and he smiled. I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
My question, I guess, is do you have any harmonica players or any useful ones?
We do not have a harmonica player, but that would be fantastic, right? That could be fantastic. And you hit on something really quickly. I'll get to you in just a second. She's up here. She wants to ask, but I want to finish with your question about the harmonica and about what comatose patients. We also call them non-responsive patients. All of us at the hospital, in this program, we all have our favorite group to play for. Teresa, the flautist, her favorite place, is the NICU. Robin's favorite place is Orange Tower because we get a wide variety of patients. My favorite patient is in the medical intensive care or the surgical trauma intensive care. A lot of those patients are non-responsive. And I love being able to play for them. People come out of the room, go in the room, and no one speaks to them a lot of times. They don't have visitors for long periods of time because what do you say to somebody who's not responding back to you, right? But I love to play there because I'm watching the patient and I'm watching the monitor, and I'm looking to see what sounds or what songs or what rhythm is connecting with them that I can see their blood pressure, stabilize. And I can see their oxygen saturation improving. I came out of a patient's room one time, and the nurse was sitting next at his station. He was a he. And I walked out, and he said, "How did you do that?" And I said, "What?" Of course, I knew what. I said, "What?" And he said, "His blood pressure went down 30 points for as long as you were playing." He said, "And then you walked out and it went back up again." So that is the power, that the sound can have. So, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Though this is one of my personal passions as well. I don't know how many of you know Silver Notes go over once a month to WBC, and I could tell a lot of stories about what happened. That's our skilled nursing facility.
Oh, okay.
And Silver Notes is a little combo group. We have about 6 musicians.
Oh, lovely.
But the stories of the response and what it does, but that's not my question. My question is the musicians, after they go through their training, what is the time commitment they make to come to the hospital? And if someone were a musician with you, how much would they be working and what would they be doing?
Right. That's an excellent question. We don't have funding for these musicians to be full-time. It would be wonderful if we did. We would love that. But usually they come to us and they say, I'm really busy. I've got my students. I've got my performances downtown in Atlanta. I can only do 2, maybe 3 days here. So that is usually 3 days is the longest, is the most that one musician can be employed for. But some of them come 1 day a week. So, anywhere in between there. Yeah, we'd love to have more funding. We'd love to have more full-time musicians. But also, there's also the emotional toll that it takes. Honest to goodness, I could never have been a nurse. If I am playing and I play for a patient and that patient passes away, I have got to go out. I've got to do something else. I go to the garden. I get regrouped. I don't know how nurses do that. For 12 hours a shift, I mean, I don't know how they do it. But for us, you know, we try to make sure that we have enough time for self-care. It's really important for us. You notice that Ellen brought her harp in, you know, and so everywhere she goes from one facility to another, she's got to transport that harp. So she's got to stay physically in shape. There's a lot to it. So, does that answer your question? Yes. Okay, good. Any others?
Just
Yes.
me, and it's a question comment. So for those of you who may not have known, I got my start in Willowbrook Court, which was skilled nursing. I started here in 2012, and since 2013, we've had a music therapy program in our skilled nursing. And if you ever want to see it, we have a board-certified music therapist that comes in every Thursday morning, and I'm sure Katie would love to have an extra set of hands to help escort people to that program. And we've actually just started a new program called SingFit, which will be implemented in assisted memory care and skilled nursing. So if you're interested in being part of that or seeing it, please reach out to Katie or Zeke, because we would love to have you see what that looks like in action.
That sounds beautiful. We've got one up here.
I'm sure that the demand far exceeds the supply as far as what you're able to do. Is it always one-on-one, or do you set up maybe at the end of the hall or in the nurse's station or somewhere in the hall so that more than one person can get the benefit of your music?
Yes, exactly. An excellent question. So we are trained to focus on one patient at a time. But when we have musicians there, if they are on a unit and they've seen all of the patients that they have the consults for, then what they will do is they will set up at the nurse's station and they will play for staff, and that sound does waft beautifully down the halls. And so, yes, more are getting the benefit other than just the one patient.
Any more questions?
I think it's obvious that there are some musicians in the room who may also be patients at some point in time in the hospital. Do you provide any opportunity for musicians to enjoy their trade as patients? The reason I say that, my sister was a church organist, and the day before she died, she played on a keyboard that was brought to the room by her family, and she played When We All Get to Heaven. So, you know, it's an opportunity for some folks to express their gifts, and I just wonder if you ever have that.
That would be more, I think, in the realm of a music therapist who would bring an instrument to be for that interactive experience. But it's beautiful. We don't have that currently. It doesn't mean that we can't. We just we sort of, I call it, we bump up against music therapy, but we all need to stay in our clinical or non-clinical lanes. And so we don't do that, but we certainly have requests. I know sometimes patients say, "Can I touch your harp?" You know, and they just want to touch one string. I heard a guitar teacher recently talk about an experience he had, that this woman had waited decades and decades to pick up a guitar. And he was working with her, and he said, "Now I want you to just do this, you know, hold this finger on this fret and just do like this on one string." And she went, And she did that, and she burst into tears. That's the power, right? That's the power that sound has. So thank you all. If there are no other questions, I'm so thrilled to meet you all and to see your beautiful facility and to learn from Vicki about the programs that you have going on. Silver Notes sounds fantastic. I just love that. Yes, so thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and information. Ellen, thank you. We so appreciate your being here.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us.